Corbett with Turtle Anarchy Brewing Company, coming to you from my lab for Adventure Science Center's Science of Beer Around the World in 80 Brews questions that you guys have been asking. Today's question comes from Emily, and she asks, what's the difference between cans and bottles? What's the big deal? Well, cans and bottles both have their different pros and cons, depending on what you're looking for. You've got your Portly Stout can, or you got a glass bottle. Typically speaking, the first thing that I think about when I think about the glass or can debate is light and how light can penetrate glass bottles. With cans, you're not going to have any UV light come in, whereas with the glass, it's going to be able to get in. A lot of your beers are going to come in brown glass, and brown glass is going to help reduce the amount of photolytic conversions that happen inside of your beer. More or less what happens is that your iso-alpha acids, the things that make your beers hoppy, all beers have alpha acids in them. That's what gives it a little bit of bitterness. But what happens when you have your beer and light shines through it, shines through the glass, it turns those alpha acids into methylbutyene-1-thiol-3. Which, I'm not sure how up you are in your organic chemistry, but that basically means it turns it to skunk. It turns it into it throws off some really, really foul flavors and smells that may not be as desirable as other things. Whereas with your cans, I mean, no light's going to be able to penetrate that, which is nice. However, you can age bottles. So much like I was talking about in the last segment, if you were to have a beer that you like, you can age it kind of like in a dark, cool place, and if it has a cork, make sure you have it horizontal. That way, the cork doesn't dry out. But yeah, you can age a lot better in bottles because the beer can come in contact with the glass and not really have any effect. The glass is pretty inert; it's not going to do anything. Whereas with your cans, when you put a beer in a can, it's not actually, the beer doesn't touch any metal. There's a liner inside of all of your cans that allow the beer to remain fresh and allow the beer to not kind of like eat at the metal. Beer is pretty acidic, to be honest, and that's going to eventually kind of like eat at the metal and give you some things that you don't really want. So about after a couple years, sometimes I think about drinking that aged Portly Stout can that you've had for about 3 or 4 years. It's probably not going to taste the way that it's supposed to. And that being said, with cans, people also often will say, well, you know, Corbett, like, I like drinking cans, but there's always that like tin metallic metal taste that comes with it. As much like I just said, beer never actually comes in contact with the can. It actually just comes in contact with the liner. So when you're drinking your beer from a can, more often than not, you're smelling the lid. You're smelling the actual can. And it's not the beer that's tainted, but just the aluminum can that you're smelling. If the smell is that off-putting, pour it in a glass, you know, and granted, you're taking a beer, pouring it in a glass, which kind of defeats the purpose of sometimes having your beers in cans versus getting it in glass. But if it's something that you're interested in, that's definitely something that you can do to kind of help nullify the metallic taste. One of the other differences, or some of the other differences between cans and bottles is cans are typically made from a lot more recyclable materials. The footprint on cans is a little bit smaller than glass. Granted, you need to recycle as much as you can, as often as you can. Even if it costs you a little extra money, it's worth it in the long run. But yeah, cans are going to have a little bit of a smaller footprint with things than bottles will, than glass will. Bottles typically look a little bit prettier. You can get a lot more creative with your labels and whatnot, versus a can, which is pretty much, that's it. This is your design. This is how your label's going to look. Whereas with a bottle, you can do all sorts of intricate designs going across it. And one of the things that I'm really proud that Turtle did is we did put our beer in cans, and it beer in cans make it a whole lot more accessible for if you're going to the beach or if you're going to a pool or things like that. If you break a bottle in a pool, nobody's going to like you. If you break a can in a pool, someone's going to look at you and be like, how did you break a piece of metal? So you can bring your cans a whole lot of other places. But yeah, that's more or less it. Boiled down, you can age beer in bottles. Your beer is going to last a little bit longer in a can, as it's not going to have any sort of ultraviolet penetration causing the photolytic conversion of alpha acids. But yeah, that's about it. Looking forward to the Science of Beer. That's going to be next Thursday for us, December 14th. And we hope to see you there. So cheers. Have a good one.